Lisa Patz.
Let me give it tonight. You got that good, got that good. Baby, don't you?
It's your good sis Lisa Patz, and today we are doing another makeup tutorial. But this one is all about covering acne scars. As someone who has struggled with acne scars for her whole life, I figured out what makeup routine is the best to cover them. I recently had a hormonal acne breakout, and I feel like this is the best time to show you guys how I cover the scars when there are like real life scars on my face. So I've got this scar on my upper lip that is just like, what are you doing? And I've got scars on my forehead and on my cheek, but we're just gonna get started. So I'm just gonna prime my face and do my eyebrows off camera, and then we'll come back because it's all about the skin. It's all about covering the scars today, you know? So we primed the face, the brows are done. I'm currently growing out my eyebrows, so they are a little bit thicker than usual, but I'm kind of liking it. I think I like it. We're gonna get straight into this first step, which is color correcting. Now, I used to use like a orange color corrector to do this step, but I actually find that it's better to use a concealer. This is the high coverage concealer from Huda Beauty, the Overachiever concealer in Butterscotch, which is really close to my skin tone. It has like a orangey undertone, which helps to cancel out those scars. I just put it straight onto my brush and then I go straight in, and I literally just like dot it onto where my scars are, which I kind of already know. And it's mainly like the scars that are harder to cover. Like there's a couple with my hairline as well, so I just like to cover those. And when you start running out of product, I just go back to that first one that I did and I take some product from there and then tap in on the rest of them. I don't do this every day, but I do it when, for one, I know my foundation is like a medium or light coverage, or I do it when like I'm gonna be taking pictures or I'm gonna be doing a video. I would usually do this. It does take a bit longer, but I do think it's really worth it, and I feel like you use less foundation as well, because like you're covering those parts that you'd probably add more foundation to get more coverage from, you know what I mean? I also like to do my under eye and then around my mouth, specifically on the sides of my mouth, because it can just get really dark there. And now we're gonna blend it in, and when you blend this, you don't want to like move it around too much. You just want to tap it into where you've applied it. So just keep it where you've applied it, but just tap it in. And this brush from Real Techniques, I think this is like a concealer brush or something. This is really good for this because it's really dense. It's kind of like a small foundation brush, which is really dense, and it just helps to keep the product where you've applied it. Like look at the one on top of my lip, where did it go? Exactly. And when I used to use like an orange color corrector, I just felt like it was so hard to cover the orange afterwards, whereas because this is like similar to my skin tone, technically if I wanted to, like I could probably go out like this. I wouldn't like, I definitely wouldn't, but I could if I wanted to, because it's so close to my skin tone. Now, as someone who has a lot of scars, I don't try and get this perfect. The goal of this is to cover the darkest scars and to get them to a similar tone to your skin. The foundation will do the rest of the work, so you don't have to make this perfect. Like there's certain scars that maybe they're not covered. It is what it is. I have acne scars. Okay, my skin is extremely prone to acne scars. Every time that I get a spot, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna get a scar afterwards. It's just the way that my skin is made up, especially when you have darker skin. You get more hyperpigmentation more easily anyway, because there's more melanin in your skin, and then the melanin like overproduces in that area. Science, it's just the way that my skin is made. But I just try and work with her rather than like work against her. I used to scrub my skin so much to try and like remove the scars, and it just didn't help. If anything, it made it worse. I won't be gatekeeping anything once I get rid of these scars, okay? I will tell you exactly how I did it. I'm just so excited for that because I have done it before, but I just let my skin go. But anyway, we'll talk about that another time. Skin is looking so much more even now, and then we're going to use foundation just to give it that extra layer of evenness. The foundation I'm using is the NARS Sheer Glow in MACAO. This foundation is really similar to my skin tone. It's not like an exact match, but undertone wise it's really close. So I like to use 1.5 to 2 pumps of foundation. I'll probably use 2 today. Yeah, let's use 2. I just apply it straight to my face. I don't know if that's bad, but that's what I do because I don't want to put it on my hand. just want to apply it on my face. And with my foundation, I only tap. I don't swipe, okay? Because it's going to move that concealer that you put underneath. So you just tap. And I start on my cheeks and then onto my chin. And then I begin to really spread it out. My forehead. And again, we're just tapping. Tap, 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 revolution. And I like to put it under my eyes now. I never used to do this before, but I actually really like what this does now. It just helps, again, to like even out the skin tone. And I feel like my concealer, I use less and it goes on better. I don't know if that's just a placebo, but I get smile lines like really heavy. Like I stay smiling, but that means I get smile lines. So I like to go on my upper lip last and just use like whatever's left over on that area. Even though yes, I do have a really dark scar there, I still just use a minimal amount of foundation because otherwise my smile lines will just pop out. I feel like you should tap until your arm hurts. That's what I feel like you should do. I didn't add any more product that whole time because I feel like the more product you add, the more obvious that you're trying to like cover things is. When you have active acne and then you're trying to like keep adding layers and layers and layers on top, I feel like it just makes it more obvious. I think just keep the layers as thin as possible and just make sure you're really blending it into your skin. Like you kind of want it, I think I saw this tip from Makeup by Ariel, but you just want it to look like to be in your skin. Like you don't want it to be like sitting on top, you want it to be in your skin, you know? That foundation I would say is like a medium coverage. Like you can build, so if I wanted to I could put another layer on. I'm not going to because I'm going to use concealers that are more high coverage, but if you wanted to you could put another layer on top of that. I'm just not going to do that. As I said, I think it makes like I have an active spot up here. I think it just makes it look even more obvious. We're going to use a concealer as a contour. I really like using this trick when you have acne scars because it adds more coverage to that contour area. You know, we use concealer under our eye for more coverage. You can do the same with your contour. They're obviously like contour and bronzer specific products, but when I have scars and when they're active and when, you know, I just feel like I need that little bit more coverage, I love to use a high coverage concealer as my bronzer, as my contour, as my cream bronzer and cream contour. I'm going to use the Huda Beauty Overachiever Concealer in Maple Syrup. This is a darker shade than the other one. I'm being lazy. I don't want to put it on the back of my hand, so I'm just going to put it on my face. I probably shouldn't, but I just don't want to use the back of my hand, so I'm just going to tap it on my face where I want it to go. I'm just going to do a little bit there, a little bit there. And then under the chin. Yeah, that's probably hella unsanitary. And then I just like to like tap that again. We are tapping, we're not swiping, we are tapping everything. Everything is getting tapped, okay? The only place I swipe is my nose because my nose is my nose, like it's fine. But everywhere else we're tapping, okay? Blend that into the bridge. I like to be quite loose, especially with my creams. Like I don't feel the need to like use a smaller brush for this part, whereas if you want it to be a bit more precise then you probably would want to use a smaller brush for this part. But the way that my face is set up, like I have quite a big I have a big head, so I can get away with this. I love bronzing my forehead. It's probably one of my favorite pastimes is bronzing my forehead. I love the way my forehead looks when it's bronzed. I will swipe under my chin actually as well because it's fine, like you don't need like extra coverage, it's more for the color. And you're probably looking at it thinking, going to blend this out. Oh baby, I will. Oh baby, I will, because I'm gonna go back in with my foundation brush, bearing in mind there's probably still like foundation left over, and then just pat it. Don't be afraid to pat over everything. This is, oh, my arm hurts. Arm hurts. Back. This just helps to make sure that it's really blended and potentially help to get a little bit more coverage as well if you really need it. I always do my hair before as well so that I can pat tap my bronzer into my hairline. Otherwise I get that stark line and it does not look good. Okay, now we are bronzed and oh my god, that scared me. I just saw a spider on the window and I thought it was inside and I was about to flip out. We are now going to do concealer, and the concealer I'm using today is the Fenty Beauty concealer in 360. It's not the new one, it's the Pro Filter Instant Retouch, the old one. I need to try the new one actually. I have heard good things about it. The only thing I'd say about this is that you're going to apply it over the areas where you put that initial first concealer to cover the dark scars. So again, it's just about tapping, no swiping, because you will take off what you've put on if you tap. And I like to keep it to my foundation brush. This is 20-minute makeup, as in I can do this, I can. I know some people will be like, girl, because I used to take 3 hours to get ready, I'm gonna be real, but I can do this makeup in 20 minutes. I've tried and tested it before work so many times. So I'm reusing my foundation brush, and again, I'm just tapping out the edges of that concealer. And you'll find that you use less concealer as well, because you have been using those other products and spreading them around your face and blending them in. Like, you just don't need as much concealer. Blend the edges with this big brush. It's a nice and easy way to blend your foundation. Amazing. One Size Ultimate Setting Powder in Translucent. This powder is really good for this because it has a lot of blurring properties within it. Another powder that's really good is the Laura Mercier powder, is amazing for this as well. But I'm using the One Size Beauty powder today, and basically what you're going to want to do is set your face with this, but there's like a technique to it that I feel like really helps to hide and like keep those acne scars covered. So there's powder in the lid, and I start off by finishing off blending out my concealer. Again, we're tapping that concealer. I know my eyebrows are a bit ruined, but it's fine. I'm gonna go back to it anyway. Oh, I forget that this concealer really dries down, like really dries down, like it doesn't play games. I like using a brush like this because it fits like perfectly under my eye and does all the work for me. Like, I don't need to do any work. It just taps it and blends it for me. And this, I'm just gonna like move that onto my eyelid so that it kind of shapes my eye a little bit. So now that that is all blended out, I'm gonna go in with this One Size powder, and I like to just like tap it into my brush, and then literally, like when I say tap, I mean tap it. Like, don't, I think sometimes when we tap, we like push. Let the brush do the work for you. This is a Sigma tapered highlighter brush, especially when you're setting with powders. Let the brush do the work for you. I think it's also because I have like oily skin that I can get away with this, because I'll basically tap it in like this, and then I'm not going to wipe any of this away. I'm just going to keep tapping it in, and sometimes I will leave like powder there because my skin's so oily, it will just soak it up. Especially over this part where I know that there's a scar under there. I know that there's a scar on the chin here. Start in the middle to get most of the product on here. I hope you can see like the blurring effect of this. It's so beautiful. You want to go where you have scars. So I have scars on the side here, and this will just make sure that nothing moves around. Okay, now we go in with powder foundation. I think this step is so key to set your makeup. You know, sometimes like you'll do all these steps, right? And they'll still, like even up here, I can see that there's one that's still like peeking through, and it just helps to really even the skin. If you've gone too hard with the contour or with the highlight, it helps to just smooth everything out. I don't know how I used to do my makeup and not use powder foundation. This is the MAC NC47 powder foundation, which is like, it's very close to my skin. It's not the exact same color, but it's like very close. And I like to start at the bottom of my face and then work upwards. I love using like a big brush for this. I'll go over my chin, my upper lip. I don't go under my eye, and I do one side of my head and then I do the other side. And again, I'm tapping. I'm not swiping. No, swiping here. We don't swipe. Okay, we tap. Sometimes I go ham with the bronzer, and then my the line of demarcation between my hairline and the bronzer is crazy, so this helps to diffuse that as well. So that is like the main base, and I feel like anything you put on top of this will last and stay and keep those acne scars covered. I do want to show you me putting on my blush, bronzer and highlight, because you're putting that on top of all this work that you've done. The main key, as I've said multiple times, is to pat. Like, you just want to pat everything. I'm choosing this Revolution matte bronzer in medium. This thing is like £8. It's so cheap, it's so good. But as I said, like, you just want to tap. And I don't tend to use a lot of powder when I've done like a cream bronze, because like it's just not necessary. It just kind of like reinforces it, and I just like to be bronzed, guys. For blush today, I'm using these Ken Beauty blushes. I absolutely love these blushes. It's Saffron and Fiji. My Saffron is like cracked because I use this thing so much. Yeah, I just love these colors and the pigment of it, and it doesn't, you know, some blushes it takes off your makeup underneath. Like, have you ever had that? Because I've had that before with some blushes where they don't add any makeup but they take away. It's really weird. Like, I don't know what it is about those blushes that does that. You know that Milani one that has like all the glitter specks in it? I found that it was taking my makeup off, and I was really confused because I was using the same brush as I always do, and it was just taking everything off, and I was like, something ain't right. But I like to use two blushes, so I'm using Fiji and Saffron. Fiji as the topper, and then Saffron as like the main base color. Put a little bit on my eyelids as well, just so that it doesn't look really random, being like really blushed, you know? And then I'll just show you the highlight as well. So the highlight I'm using today is the Fenty Beauty Cognac Candy. Yeah, Cognac Candy Diamond Bomb highlighter. This highlight's so pretty. It's so pretty. And I love a brush like this for my highlight because it, like, I don't know, it's just something about the shape. It just places it on my cheeks so pretty. This I will swipe because I want it to be like a dusting. Like, I don't want it to be like, you know, we used to do highlighter like super intense. I don't like that look anymore. I like a dusting, like a dust. I'm gonna go off camera and finish the rest of my makeup, and I'll come back to show you the final results. Okay guys, so this is the final look. As you can see, you cannot see not one scar on my face. I do find that personally, going for like the natural look, especially when you do have acne scars, I find it really difficult because I feel like I need the coverage. I feel like I need the beat to be beat for me to look beat and not have no scars. You get what I'm saying? Please do like and subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. I really hope that this helped you guys. If you have acne scars and if you're struggling with acne scars, comment below some of the techniques that you use to cover your acne scars and what kind of products you find really help you. Also, what products have helped you to get rid of your acne scars for good. I would love any advice, any help, anything, please, because we're in this together, okay? But I hope you have a blessed day. Deuces.